Welcome everyone to Brian's Action Figure Reviews, and we're back with another Retro Wrestle Chat. Like Tubbs, how's it going? So we're on episode 44, and as we're counting down to 50, we're doing some of the classics.
Well,
so-called classics. So my choice this week, unfortunately, was the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan from Wrestlemania 6. The Ultimate Challenge, they called it. And it was the ultimate challenge to sit through the whole lot of it. This was like when Tubbs was a teenager, this match was on.
Motherfucker, I was like fucking 9 years old.
I'm not saying you're old.
When you think of it, man, fucking hell. Do you know?
So yeah, this match, right? What were you going to say? Go on.
No, I was only saying, I said 31. I was 9 years old. Yeah, yeah. Almost
you were still old enough to watch it live, so yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know if I saw this live.
I genuinely didn't.
I don't know if I genuinely did. I could have, though. I do remember watching or having memories of this live. I don't think I got this live. I think it was maybe 7 or 8 I came in at on the lives. Maybe it was even later. Because I mean, obviously, do you know what I mean? Because over here in Ireland.
Yeah, like when I saw this, I rented it out in Academy Video there in South Hill, Weston, there that direction. That's where I saw this first.
Unless that's how I saw it. Maybe because it was on so late. Because I do know.
But like WWF had started to come on to Sky at that time as well.
I'm only thinking of like the age. I would have been like 9 or 10-ish. 8 or 9 or whatever, and when this Mania was on, so probably like the likes of staying up until like fucking 4 in the morning probably wasn't an option back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing it anyway. You know, I remember seeing all the WrestleManias, but you know, my memory is a bit flagged on kind of when I actually came in to start watching them live.
Like, let's talk about a little bit about this. This was Ultimate Warrior, the Intercontinental Champion. I think he had beaten the Honky Tonk Man in 8 seconds, hadn't he? Leading up to this. And
my memory serves correct. That was
some Survivor Series.
Yeah, it was. I think. No, it wasn't. It was Honky Tonk Man. I think Honky Tonk Man was his first Intercontinental title.
Oh, you're right.
If I'm wrong.
That was in '88. Yeah,
but I think it was Ravishing Rick. This came after the Ravishing Rick Rude feud.
Oh, okay.
This was kind of fresh after that. He ended up in like the. Now, let me ask you something, because I can't remember this. Okay, I genuinely can't. Maybe I should have looked it up before I even asked the question. Who fucking knows? Back at WrestleMania 6, Hogan's champion. Warrior is Intercontinental champion. And he fights him at WrestleMania for the world title. So by proxy, does that mean the Warrior won the Royal Rumble that year?
I can't remember. Was that even a thing back then? I don't know. I can't remember anyway. But yeah, I'm
gonna have to look that up just for my own fucking records.
Winning Rumble. Anyway, we're going way off. So let's keep going. Yeah, 2 of the biggest icons in the business, 2 of the biggest assholes in the business that we would learn later on in life. Yeah.
I have a massive question for you here, though.
Go on.
Do you think, how do you think the conversation with Vince and Hogan went before this match? Vince is like, Hogan, I need you to put the new guy over. You know, he needs to be, the new champion, the new face. And I'm pretty sure there was a bargaining tool involved in this match. Hogan's like, I'll put him over, but I have to main event. Because the reason I say this is because WrestleMania 7, he main evented against Slaughter. WrestleMania 8, he main evented against Psycho Sid, even though the 2 of them didn't win the fucking Rumble, because the Warrior came back, if you remember, with the whole shenanigans of Papa Shango. And then he kind of main evented WrestleMania 9, even though he wasn't involved, because he just came in at the end. That's what jump ship.
That's what I was going to say about Warrior. Like, this was supposed to be the passing of the torch, and
it was to a point, but I think what happened I think the ego became too large.
Like, what you were saying about the pin and the Hogan or Warrior going over there, even you notice when Warrior pinned him, Hogan kicked out like seconds after the tree went
I
down.
want to ask you about this. Like, did they botch the pin, or did Hogan did he legit try to kick out?
I think that's been said in interviews down the years that Hogan did not want to be beaten convincingly. He just wanted to be beaten by that split second just to keep his fucking heat. Because you saw how he got up to the and he's like, no, that was only.
Oh, I noticed he didn't sell at all for it. Like, but yeah, like in general, like, was there anything in this match that would have, like, I mean, look, you have to look at it as like this was 31 years ago, so like we have been reconfigured and redesigned in our wrestling. Seeing what like
the business has moved
like
on.
A finisher. But looking back at this, obviously, you know what I mean, the style, I clocked it. I think it was within the first 8 minutes before one guy got taken off his feet. They did the pushes back and forth, but the rest of it then was like, you know, like, it looked like I was watching a fucking porn.
Basically, like, this was the main event of WrestleMania, and it was two guys showing you how to run the ropes, how to do a shoulder tackle or shoulder barge, whatever they call it, and holding hands for the bones of 3 minutes as well.
And other things that looked very suspect.
Yeah, some very dodgy camera angles as well. I'm sure if Rich was here, he would say those camera angles are not.
Fellatio is what you would say.
Well, I didn't say that.
I did.
That's your mind. But yeah.
That's not my mind. That is fucking what I saw, all right?
Like, I'm going to go a bit controversial here. The two guys were sweating buckets as well, and it has to be the steroids.
I mean, look, it could very well have been, but I mean, I have a feeling that's the style of wrestling that these two guys had to do, because you could tell
they're limited as
fuck. The Warrior was blowing up off his entrance. Like the minute, don't get me wrong. Can I ask you a question? Actually, growing up, were you a Hogan or Warrior fan?
Oh, it's a Warrior fan.
Yeah, I was a fucking like when this match.
I hated Hogan.
But like when this match happened, and I lost my collective little shit mind because I was young, so I was on the years on end. At this point, I'm all about the fucking crazy face paint and the costumes and the characters. Warrior was that for me growing up. I was like, he's fucking amazing. He's electro. He's like shaking the ropes and running, and I did that. I ran a lot, you know, because I'm an ADHD.
He was just pure energy.
But you could genuinely tell, looking back at this 30 years later, that Jesus Christ, man. Like, I mean, you could definitely tell it was a different era. Like, you didn't need legitimate wrestling skill, to be the marquee player. You know what I mean? Because Hogan, realistically, I mean, and this is the fucked up thing about it, is it must be very much a WWF, WWE thing. Because what a lot of people don't realize is before he became the immortal Hulk Hogan, he actually could wrestle technically. He had a bit of technical, he was a different piece of wrestler. I'm just going to whip that there. But yeah, it was the Warrior, though. Warrior was always just a run 2 or 3. One thing
This match is? It was a modern day Lesnar versus Goldberg, or a classic version of. But
I mean, but it comes down to that like late 80s, early 90s fucking big. I mean, I don't mean wrestling, because even at that point you still had guys that were putting on the luchador matches and stuff like that. But what I mean is big marquee Wrestlemania matches. It was the Hulk Hogans and the Warriors, and very back and forth, and it's all about pandering to the crowd and kind of and they did. I mean, that crowd was eating it up, man. Like, I know it's
but like it's like the kayfabe era was well alive at that point. And
one thing I realized was, I know at WrestleMania 7 Hogan was champion, but one thing I realized watching this match, never clicked with me before, was, you know, the way Hulkamania has been like 30 odd decades long. Yeah. Hogan was only really like on top for 6 years in WWF.
Mm.
Like he was champion, but by the time WrestleMania 7 came, like you had Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man, the career in the match. Like that got way more over than the main event. In WrestleMania 8, you had Ric Flair and Macho Man. That got way more over. And you had Bret Hart and Roddy Piper, things like that. So Psycho Sid and Hogan wasn't really the thing. And by the time it came to WrestleMania 9, it was Yokozuna and Bret Hart for the title. And Hogan kind of comes out at the end, wins the title. No one really fucking cared at that point. Everyone was going, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? They weren't really, oh my God, Hulk Hogan. It was like the candle was dying out. But if you look at it before, this match was really, really, looking back at it, that stamp of where Hogan's like top level flame started to slowly kind of come down. And it was only 6 years long. I never fucking clicked it until I rewatched this match. I was like, he was only fucking at the top. Like on top.
And
until this match.
yet he's still relevant nowadays.
No, I'm not saying that like
No,
but
but
what I meant is with as long as relevant as he is to this day and as long as he's been around, you would think that he's like top level career, like as champion, as the top dog in WWF, would have been like maybe like 10, 15 years long. But then when you look back, it's like, oh my God, it was like a decade at most. Because and out of 37, because it's 37 this year, out of 37 WrestleManias, he's only been at 10.
But
physically
but
active.
Vince McMahon will say he was a part in creating WrestleMania.
12. I'm sorry, 11. It's 11 because he did the McMahon Hogan match as well.
He was at the most important ones. He started it off. I'm not going to sit here now and deny
no. That's not a discussion of like, oh, he's not as good as. That's not what I'm saying. What I meant is, it shocked me because of the memory I have of Hulkamania being so long and like so went on for so many years. It shocked me that like it was, oh my God, it was like that whole Hulkamania run was only 6 years before he started to kind of not be the Hulk. Because once he lost to the Warrior, he was in the main event. He wasn't as marquee as like if you look at it, there's like a 3-year period.
No, I would still say that Hogan was still the biggest name in the WWF up until the day he left.
Well, see, the reason I'm saying it is because if you just go back and look at WrestleMania 7, 8, and 9, the main focuses weren't him that came out of those events, if you get me. Up until WrestleMania 6, he was the marquee guy. The main event was Hogan.
But I get what you're saying, but they were trying to bring someone else in, but there still wasn't anyone as big as Hogan. That's what
I mean, it could be just me personally, man. It could be just a personal thing, but from even looking back at it, it was like trying to remember, like even for me, WrestleMania 7, if you say WrestleMania 7 to me, I think of career in the match, Warrior, Matchman. You ask me the number, or WrestleMania 8, I think of
I
Flair.
Can't remember who we fought those.
Ric Flair, Macho Man, and Bret and Roddy Piper. Everyone remembers the Warrior coming back, but I don't. First thought isn't Hogan versus Sid, and it damn sure isn't fucking Hogan winning the title at WrestleMania 9 before he swanned off the WCW.
But like they tried to replace him with Lex Luger and they failed, and they fell back on him for the main event. But anyway, let's get back to the match because we've gone way.
Because we waffled off mental. I did. I just needed to say that because I was actually shocked at it.
Bottom line, fuck Hulk Hogan. Anyway,
let's get into the actual
honestly
match.
I don't mind Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, but let's leave it at that. Back to the match.
We can't dispute the fucking Hulkamania isn't that thing. Do you know what I mean?
But it's why we're here, more or less, because wrestling wouldn't be as big as if it wasn't for that stuff.
I mean, look, he did. He was lightning in a bottle back when
at the perfect time
when pro wrestling needed it. Do you know what I mean? And that was when it skyrocketed to what we kind of have today. So yeah, you got to give him credit for that in some way.
So worst moments of the match, I'm going to go with, I think it was Warrior went for a shoulder charge or something, and Hogan just moved out of the way, and it was like he meant to throw him over the ropes, but he ended up just batting him onto the ground like a child.
He was, and you know what was the worst part about that spot? I don't know if it was miscommunication or if it was like this very badly choreographed, but it was like the Warrior at one point went to run and he went back, and then Hogan was still trying to like saunter up, and then he ends up running back, and then he runs past him and then back, and then Hogan goes up and just swats him to the fucking ring. I was going, right. I was like,
And
that's, I mean, it's not even a product of its era. Like, back in the day, this fucking internet's kicking my ass, but it's not even a product of its era when you think back, because Joe, obviously we know the bigger men back in their late 80s, early 90s wrestled a very
boring.
limited style, if you will. Yeah, but they had a very limited style of what they could actually do. You know what I mean? But my God, I was shocked to see how limited these two were in this match. Like,
next bad thing for me. Next bad moment for me was the kind of half-arsed attempt at injuring Hogan's leg. He just gave up on it after a while. And then Hogan gave up selling.
One for me.
Hogan gave up selling it as well, which is even worse.
It's not even that. Did you hear Jesse Ventura's commentary as well? They started going on about his knee, and they were like, going, "Oh, his knee must have just popped back into place," you know. I was going, "Man, fuck off," you know. And this is what I mean about Hogan, right? It's this thing of like it's like I'll put you over, but I'm going to like have a knee injury. I'm going to still kick out of your finisher, make it look like you didn't really pin me, and I'm not going to sell your finishing move, but you're going to win. There's all these conditions attached to this match. You're kind of going like this is why I fucking love the match between HBK and Hogan years later, where HBK like oversold every single fucking move he did, because he said that's the fucking thing. Hogan is such a fucking. It's just stupid. I'm agreeing with you on the leg thing. It annoyed me to fucking no end.
My best moment of the match was the 1, 2, 3 when it ended. And no, to be serious, the best match of the moment was the commentary. I loved hearing Gorilla Monsoon. He was the voice of my childhood watching WWF years ago. Yeah. And he's fantastic. And Jesse Ventura.
Refreshing.
Jesse Ventura, despite the meeting, he was awesome as well. I used to love listening to that crazy bastard in commentary as well. About the match, I've nothing positive to say about the match, I'm afraid.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I have nothing positive to say, because look, I'm aware it's a product of its time. It's WrestleMania 6, very, very, you know what I mean? Obviously, do you know what I mean? We can't sit here and kind of go like, oh, well, there was no fucking moonsaults and no fucking, you know, like, they didn't reverse any of the fucking submission holds, because we're watching a different product now. It has changed over time. And it's like you ladder matches from the 90s to now, you're kind of going, oh, they're very bland and basic, but they were probably the better ladder matches because they were the very start of it and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'd be like you when it comes to the leg injury thing that Hogan, you know, tried to sell. Didn't sell it very well, by the way, and then got bored and stopped selling it. Actually sold fucking nothing, by the way. What a prick. Then you have, and this is the thing, I grew up loving the Warrior. But then you grow up to learn, I mean, God rest his soul, he passed away and stuff, but do you know what I mean? But you obviously realize that like the Warrior was a bit of a prick as well. You know?
Much worse as well.
You know, in that sense of like, well, I wouldn't say he was worse than Hogan now. I just think he was, I don't know. See, this is the way I describe it, right? I mean, not to talk kill up the dead or not. You could tell from interviews and shoot videos and all this kind of stuff with Warrior, right? That he genuinely just like lived that character, but he straight up like said who he had a problem with. Hogan,
oh yeah, he didn't hide it.
Lead opposite. Hogan's like, no, me and Macho Man were best friends, and me and the Warrior were best mates. And you say this after they pass away. You're a piece of dirt. Sorry, you're a fucking shithead and a racist.
Yeah, well, we could go on for a while listening what these two guys have done in their lives. But you know what? I'm going to cut to the chase here, Tubbs, because our internet connection isn't the best. And what's your rating for this match? Out of 10, obviously.
I give it a 5, man. I give it a 5 because do you know what I mean? It entertained me. There was like I said, I love the entrances. I love the celebration at the end with the Warrior. I thought it was fucking still that celebration still holds up from what I remember. But yeah, the match itself was just very fucking basic. John Cena would have fucking been
Had a clinic.
fucking contender for like the entire run of the WWF in the 80s, 90s, man, because in his earlier days, he had a very similar style.
For me, I'm going to agree with you for once. I'll give it a 5 as well. Just because I liked Warrior. I liked Warrior back in the day. And honest to God, right? Every week, this is a true story. Every weekend, myself and my dad used to go to the video shop and we get out two WWF videos. Every fucking single one of them, Hogan won in the end, except for this one. Which is why
This is what I mean about the Cena thing. For nearly a decade, that was the same fucking thing.
It's like
Cena
this, man.
fucking wins again. Hogan was
it's
the
like
same
this. Hogan, Luger, Rock, Cena, Roman.
It's the same blueprint, really. But I mean, now don't get me wrong. Roman is still kind of like running his, and I really do like Roman's new heel thing. It's really working for him. But and I don't even think I put The Rock in that same vein because I think the blueprint was for The Rock to do that. But I think The Rock became a different beast as time went on. And I think Austin was the reason for that.
Yeah.
If The Rock didn't have an Austin, I think he would have very much have been that Hulk Hogan type character.
But he was the company guy who was pushed and booed like fuck, just like Cena, just like Reigns.
But I mean, I'd make the argument that that Austin's star was way higher.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree there, but I'm saying like that's probably why as well. Rock was like because he was the cookie cutter baby face, whereas Austin was a cool anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. What's your pick for episode 45, Tubbs?
I'm going to go with since we're in the vein of watching WrestleMania matches.
You always pick WrestleMania matches, Tubbs.
Yeah, fucking look, we're in the last fucking 6. We might as well go fucking on big old school or fucking big marquee matches now at this point. I'm going with WrestleMania 10, HBK versus Razor Ramon, first ever ladder match.
I was going to pick that next week, so good choice.
I'm just very sorry about my internet connection. I'm sorry with the shortage of the show because internet's fucking sucked balls tonight.
It's all right. Hogan didn't deserve it anyway. And guys, This is Monday night, so make sure to check out last night's podcast and next week's Retro Wrestle Chat. And we'll see you again, guys. Have a great one. Bye.